Next technique, everybody put your feet on the floor. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Let that breath out with a sigh. Deeper and deeper with every breath you take. Every beat of your heart, just relax. Let go. Guided by the sound of my voice. And today, our next topic is about voices. Important voices. Voices that run our lives and direct our futures. Now I'm betting that there was a time in your life, perhaps many, many years ago, maybe even before you can consciously remember. Or maybe it was sometime later, maybe even recently, when you had a certain someone in your life. Someone that you trusted. Someone that you believed. Someone who could take you under their wing and show you something that was really true. Maybe it was a parent, or a relative, or a teacher. Maybe it was a coach, or a sibling. But whoever this person was, they represented what was true, what was nourishing and nurturing. Someone who could speak in a way that you would always trust if you would always believe them. If they told you that the moon was made of green cheese, well, you may not have even questioned it at all. I want you to remember that person. And I want you to remember that voice. And as this person speaks to you, I want you to hear that voice inside. Noticing where that voice comes from. Listen to it and turn up the volume. And just keep turning it up, listening to it. Talk to you, speak to you, to tell you things that are only the very best things about you, in a voice that you can always trust, a voice that you can always believe, a voice that gives you really good advice, a voice that speaks 10 times louder than any other voice. And as you listen to this voice, you can hear him or her speaking, talking to you, telling you all the things you most want and need to hear that make you feel good about who you are and the life you lead and all the steps you took to get here. And you can begin to realize that from this moment on, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, this voice will go with you. This voice will guide you, support you, speak to you, inspire you in ways that you most want and need, to give you the very best advice possible in every situation, in every circumstance, to tell you the very best perspective to take on any action or activity, past, present, or future, any memory, any thought, any idea. Because we all have a voice we need to trust. I have a voice like that. And as that voice sinks deeper and deeper and deeper still, making its home in the very deepest, most powerful part of your mind, you can hear the volume increase as all the other voices drain away, lose their power, flow into this voice of authority within you, the voice that gives you the very best instructions, the very best advice, the voice of love, acceptance, wisdom, inner guidance, outer action. And I want you to just take a few moments and just listen. Listen to all the wonderful things, all the true things this voice has to tell you. Louder and louder, over and over and over again, telling you all the very best things about you. In a voice that you can always trust and always believe. And when you know you've got it, see yourself, feel yourself floating up out of your physical body, higher and higher and higher still, until you're once again in that space beyond time and space, and you can look down at your physical body. And just like when we visited that temporal editing space, you can look down and see that glowing line of time once again. You can see the 2 points where your timeline begins and your timeline transitions into a glowing space. And as you go higher and higher and higher still, you can notice that there are 2 points of light. One at the ending point of your timeline, while the other is at the very beginning, right before you were conceived, right before you took on a body. And as the planes passing overhead signal motion and movement and traveling, you can begin to travel backwards towards that point of light, passing through that point before you took on a body, before you were conceived, and finding yourself in an amazing place. A place that looks a lot like outer space. It's dark, and there are lights everywhere. But it's different in all the right ways. It's not cold and empty like space would be. It's warm, and it feels safe, nurturing, nourishing, loving, almost like being in the womb. And as you look around, you notice what look like stars. And you realize something, that you're in a new place, a place beyond time, a place beyond space, a place from which your consciousness, the spark of the divine that would become you, has always existed and will one day return. A place where what you can imagine, where the potential for everything exists. A place we call the womb of eternity. And in this place, the place beyond and before time and space, you have complete access to everything you ever have been, everything you ever will be, and everything you can imagine you can become. And so, as you float into this space, I want you to notice one particular point of light calls your attention, almost like it recognizes you. You know, many times when we experience this kind of welcoming, it's like a puppy dog. When you come home from a hard day at work and that puppy dog knows you're coming home, and he or she starts to get really, really excited. As you begin to move towards that one point of light that you recognize, and it sees you, it begins to blink, begins to get excited, almost as if it's welcoming you home. And as you merge into that point of light, becoming one with the source of all life, the source of all living things, deep inside, you feel whole, complete, connected. In that spark of the divine that will one day take on a body, that will one day become the person that is you in this room physically. But in this place, beyond time, beyond space, everything can change. And when you're fully merged with that spark, fully in your center, as the Soviet psychologists would call it, touching that spark of consciousness, which is the same value as every other spark that has ever existed or ever will exist. In this place, I want you to listen to that voice, telling that spark everything that you will ever need to know, to understand, to accept the events and situations and circumstances of the coming life, to understand them, to survive them, but not just survive, to thrive. Having all that foreknowledge, all of that wisdom, all of that loving, nurturing, and support. And something else. Absolute acceptance, protection, forgiveness, understanding, wisdom. All of it installing itself and informing that spark of consciousness that will one day take on a body. And when you know you've got it, when you know that spark has everything it will ever need to be better than okay, to take all of the information and apply it in the very best way possible. Feel that spark beginning to move through the womb of eternity, passing through that light and into the cells that will one day become your body. And hear that voice speaking, teaching, guiding, loving, nourishing every chromosome, every gene. Feel those cells merging and splitting. 2 cells becoming 4 cells. And the voice just gets louder, stronger, more pervasive. All of your DNA, all of your cells, installing and replicating that information over and over and over again. So that no matter what happens in the coming life, at the very level of your genes and beyond, you have everything you need. Instinctively, intuitively, logically. And through it all, there's this voice that guides you, teaches you, inspires you, keeps you on the right track, tells you the very best perspectives, the best roads to take, how to interpret situations and circumstances so that they only make your life better, how to let things go in the right way, so that you're free at the deepest level. 4 cells become 8. 8 cells become 16. 16 cells becoming 32. 64. And so on. And so on. You can feel your body, the one you will one day fully inhabit now, growing, evolving, faster and faster and faster still. And then at some point, you reach that stage where it's time to emerge into birth, into the process of coming into the world. And you come in, bringing all of that love and acceptance, wisdom and guidance and foreknowledge with you. And as you move through your first year, noticing how all the events of your life, your experiences shift and change because His voice was there, teaching you, guiding you, explaining things to you, telling you exactly what you most want and need to hear to become the person the universe meant you to be, the one you want to be, through your second year, the third, fourth, fifth, picking up speed, moving faster and faster through your timeline, noticing how all of the events of your life shift and change because the person experiencing them was already different, already aware, already prepared with new resources, new perspectives, new ideas and beliefs, because the voice gave you what you most needed to know. The voice is with you, loving you, supporting you, nourishing you, from before time began, through all the days, weeks, months, and years of your life. 10, 20, 30, and beyond, on into the future. And through it all the way back to that womb of eternity, back to that spark of consciousness, bringing all of that information with you. And with it, the realization, the one thing that was true through it all, and through it all, you were always loved, always accepted, always protected, and you're never alone. And see yourself moving from that point in the womb of eternity, all the way through gestation, all the way through year 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, not once, not twice, all the way into your future and beyond, and back to the womb, over and over and over again, not once, not twice, but hundreds of times at the speed of thought, until you know it's all different now. When you know you've got it, feel yourself emerging, coming back to the present moment, fully integrating into your body and mind, bringing all this with you, noticing how different, how powerful, how wonderful the world is. And as you listen inside, you can hear this voice only. A voice that speaks 10 times louder than any other voice. A voice that tells you only the very best things about you. A voice you can always trust. A voice you can always believe. And through it all, you're always loved. You're always accepted. And you're never alone. When you know you've got it, allow yourself to emerge fully from this state. Noticing how that voice drowns out every other voice, for now and forever.